A historical betrayal. Afghanistan's hostility, deceit, and ungratefulness towards Pakistan. You are watching Global Face tonight, and I am Mr. Bravo. The neighbor that became the enemy. When Pakistan rose from the ashes of colonial rule in 1947, it carried a dream. The dream of unity, the dream of brotherhood, and the dream of faith. Amongst its neighbors stood a fellow Muslim nation, Afghanistan. A country Pakistan expected towards embrace it as a brother in belief, in struggle, and in destiny. But from the very first day, that hope was betrayed. Afghanistan, the only country on the map, voted against Pakistan's admission into the United Nations. Before Pakistan could even stand on its feet, the first dagger of hostility was thrust. In September 1947, Afghanistan government hosted besides its own flag another the flag of Pakhtunistan, the state that never existed, carved out of Pakistani soil. It was an open declaration of irredentist ambition. Soon after Kabul's envoy, Najibullah demanded Pakistan to surrender its tribal belt and grant a corridor to the sea. He wanted of war if Pakistan refused. In 1948, Afghanistan established the Ministry of Tribe not to serve its people but to steer rebellion inside Pakistan. Training camps across the border under Prince Abdul Karim Baloch. Also, Afghanistan Air Force scattered propaganda leaflets over FATA urging tribesmen to rise against Islamabad. On August 12, 1949, Afghanistan backed a militant Fakir of Api, desecrated Pakistani flag and pledged allegiance to the illusion of Pakhtunistan. Pakistan served diplomatic ties. Later that month, a Loya Girja in Kabul refused to recognize Pakistan and declared Pakhtunistan Day. Afghan troops attacked near Chaman, defeated and humiliated, yet Pakistan returned the captured land as a gesture of peace. Maintaining a Muslim brotherhood, Pakistan, its earliest day, chose resistance over revenge and peace over pride. The 1950s began with deception. Afghanistan signed a friendship treaty with India, a strategic move to isolate Pakistan. 1951, Said Akbar, a Pakhtun nationalist, assassinated Pakistan's first Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan, the nation's first political martyr. 1955, mobs in Kabul burned Pakistan's embassy. Loudspeaker along the border blared hate day and night, an early form of psychological warfare. Afghan troops reportedly violated the borders at Bogra Pass, Bajor, and Balochistan, each time repelled by Pakistan Air Force and Frontier Corps. Yet, even after victory, Pakistan sought peace. It withdrew troops, reopened trade, and extended diplomacy. Kabul answered with silence and more provocations. 1965, while Pakistan fought India in the east, Afghanistan attacked from the west. Afghani unit crossed into Mobad Agency, but the local Pakhtuns stood with Pakistan, defying Kabul's order. Though the 1970s, Afghanistan became a base for separatist movements. Baloch and Pakhtun militants were trained in Kabul, funded by India and Soviet KGB, and directed to fracture Pakistan unity. In 1971, the Indo-Soviet campaign to divide Pakistan, Afghanistan soil hosted foreign operatives. 1975, Afghanistan backed militants assassinated Governor Hayat Sarpao in Peshawar. Then in 1978, a Saur revolution, President Daud Khan was overthrown and killed by his own officers. Afghanistan turned red, the hammer and the stickle flying over Kabul. By 1979, under Hafizullah Amin, Afghanistan invited the Soviet army, opening the gates of fire on Pakistan's western border. 24 December 1975, the Red Army invaded Afghanistan. Soviet General warned the Indus River would be their next frontier. Pakistan opened its border. It sheltered 3 million Afghan refugees, armed the Mujahideen, and stood as a front line for the freedom of Afghans. Thousands of Pakistani died in bombing, assassinated, and raids by the Soviet-backed Afghanistan intelligence Khaad. Yet Pakistan never turned the refugees away. And when the Soviets finally retreated, Afghanistan did not thank Pakistan. Instead, it accused, it blamed, and once again turned its hostility towards nation that has just saved them. 3 decades had passed. 3 decades of generosity and resistance. Yet every gesture of goodwill was met with deceit, every act of mercy with betrayal. But the worst was yet to come. A new empire rose. Afghanistan would again become the stage and Pakistan the scapegoat. Pakistan had been the shield of the free world. It gave shelter, weapons, and its own blood so Afghanistan could live free. But when the Red Army withdrew, gratitude never came. The guns once pointed at Moscow began to turn towards Pakistan. When the Soviets left, peace did not follow. The Mujahideen, once united by jihad, turned their weapons on each other. Gulbuddin, Hikmat Yar, Rabbani, Masood, and Dostum each claimed power, none seeking peace. Kabul burned, millions fled again. Pakistan urged unity, but its plea was drawn by rockets and greed. Pakistan's economy bleeds, its border destabilized, and aimed the ruins of new force rose, disciplined, devoted, and fearless. The Taliban. Year 1996. The Taliban captured Kabul, roads reopened, crime fell, opium declined. Pakistan recognized their government, believing stability had returned. But the world labeled them terrorists. The same power that the once armed the Mujahideens now turned their backs. When Osama bin Laden found refuge in Afghanistan, the United States prepared to vengeance against both Kabul and Islamabad. September 11, 2001, New York burned, the world froze. Within hours, Washington demanded loyalty. You are either with us or against her. Pakistan chose alliance and became the front line of war fought on Afghanistan soil but paid for heavily with Pakistani lives. Over 80,000 Pakistani died, 150 billion were lost, and yet Pakistan was branded as a double dealer. Meanwhile, the US-backed Afghan government became a host for anti-Pakistan militants. The TTP-BLA and ISISK found safe havens across the borders. India opened consulate across Afghanistan, Kandahar, Jalalabad, Herat. 5 in total, all along Pakistani border. They were not embassies, they were outposts. Though the raw NDS network, terrorists were trained and funded. Afghani soil became the staging ground for attacks in Quetta, Peshawar, Gwadar, Karachi. 2014 Army Public School massacres where 144 children were martyred. The trial led straight to Nangarhar under Afghanistan intelligence protection. Pakistan responded with discipline, not rage. It fenced the border, launched counter-terror operations, and called for peace. Kabul replied with gunfire and propaganda. After 20 years of war, America finally left. Once again, Pakistan was blamed, this time for helping the Taliban win. But the truth was simpler. Pakistan wanted peace. After 4 decades of sacrifice, when the Taliban regained Kabul in 2021, Pakistan extended their hands again for trade, aid, and dialogue, but the guns did not fall silent. Cross-border attacks resumed. The Taliban refused to act against TTP hideouts, calling them brothers. By year 2022, Pakistan patience had run thin. Over 500 soldiers were martyred in attacks planned from Afghani soil. The Durid line flared once again. Instead of friendship, Kabul responded with arrogance. Afghan forced shelled Pakistani posts, harbored militants, and allowed raw agents to roam Host and Kunar freely. Behind every act of hostility, the same formula: Indians' money, Afghani soil, and Pakistan's blood. Pakistan launched Operation Azm-e-Istehkam, crushing terrorist centuries while still offering dialogue. The message was loud and clear: peace in Pakistan's choice, but betrayal will not go unanswered. Stay awake, stay engaged, and stay tuned. This is Global Affairs Tonight, and I am Mr. Bravo. From 1947 to 2025, a story of betrayal had repeated across generations. Pakistan stood as a brother, and Afghanistan chose to be an adversary. History will remember. No nation gave Afghanistan more, and no nation received less in return. Yet, Pakistan endeavors, because its strength is not built on betrayal, but on faith, resilience, and the courage to stand alone. Subscribe.